Hello, we are live, and today I've got lots to talk about. So I try to keep it as short as possible, but there's lots of options and things that I need to cover. I'm going to be talking about how to carry big babies, so babies that would have grown out of their baby carrier or like out of your stretchy wraps or caboo, stuff like that. So what to do with them, literally, and then carrying toddlers as well, and carrying preschoolers, because you know they need to be carried for a long time. They don't just like start walking for miles everywhere. You still need to have an option if you don't fancy taking the buggy everywhere with you, or they get too tired to scoot or whatever. Having an option is always good. It saves your shoulders if you have to give shoulder rides all the time. It's just a lot more comfortable using an appropriate and supportive carrier sling to carry big babies. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust this. So lots to cover, lots of hacks, lots of tips, lots of things to consider as well. So I'll be as quick as I can. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them. If you're watching this on replay on YouTube or IGTV or Facebook videos, you can put questions in the comments. You can DM me if you want to hire anything. Again, drop me a message. I can post anything and we can do everything online. So everything is possible. Okay, so first we're going to talk a little bit about positioning and what is safe and unsafe with carriers that have been outgrown a bit. So I'm going to demo. I'm going to use a Toddler standard, and I'm going to pretend I've got a toddler. So I've got a demo doll here, which is about like 14 months, something like that. And I'm just going to bring my baby in. So bear with me, this is extremely heavy dead weight. So I'm just going to put it on and I'm going to pretend a bit because I don't have a toddler to demo it. That's cool now. So let's pretend this baby is a little bit too big for the baby carrier. The safety line for a carrier to still be safe is roughly here, shoulder blades, okay? So if the panel isn't covering all the way here, it's fine. If your baby wants to have arms out and it covers here, it's still fine. It's anywhere lower down, then you've got more of a risk of a fall, okay? So you still want to cover kind of shoulder blades under the armpit. This is fine. You don't have to just immediately run and buy something else. It's still totally safe. What's a bit annoying is that if you're carrying your baby, especially on the back, and they fall asleep, obviously this can happen and it's just not comfortable. So if you have a hood, it's really handy being able to support the head if they fall asleep in this situation. As much as you can, if they fall asleep, bring arms back inside because that will help stabilize them, and use the hood, okay? In terms of the base, so I'm just going to purposely make it a bit narrow. You're not going to harm your baby if the base is not supporting knee to knee for a bigger baby or a toddler, okay? So we do want to preserve the M-shaped positioning for as long as possible, and the M-shaped positioning is when you have the knees higher than the bum, but you don't have to be able to cover from knee to knee in order to preserve this positioning, as long as the legs are not completely dangling. For you, it's more for you because it's a lot more supportive having legs up than having them dangling. As long as you can do that, you can keep going. So basically this is roughly where safety ends here, so like this. If you find the legs are dangling too much and you want to lift the legs back up so that it's more comfortable for them, but also for you, because as soon as you do that, the weight becomes a lot more supported. There's two tricks that you can do. So I'm going to demo with a scarf, and you know what, I'm just going to put my baby into a carrier that's way too small so that I can demo a little bit better. So I'm going to use a going to use my Beko Cool on the small setting so you understand a bit more what I'm saying. So here I'm purposely leaving the base a bit too small. And I'm just going to put my baby in. So that works also for the back, obviously. Like that, whoops. So, if you're here and the legs are a bit dangly and it just becomes a bit uncomfortable, okay, don't panic, still safe and fine, it's just more for comfort. So you could do the scarf trick. So you grab yourself a scarf, something that's quite strong, wool is okay, it's just not the most supportive. You bring back the middle of it on your back, like that, and you bring it to your front, gather it. So I am using a woven wrap, but you really don't have to use a woven wrap. If you have an old stretchy wrap, that works quite well as well. Any scarf that is long enough will do. I'm going to cross on the front, and I'm going to bring the scarf under the legs, and you can probably predict what's going to happen now. I'm going to double knot to keep it in place. Suddenly the legs are lifted, so I can spread this, zip and zip, like that, and the weight becomes a lot more weightless. So there you go. You don't have to run off and buy a Toddler Carrier. You can make your baby carrier last a bit longer. So that's one trick. Some brands offer their carrier with seat extenders. Some don't. Some just come with it. So like if you have a Tula, for instance, you can get these seat extenders. So you pop them at the end of the base in your waist belt, and then you just clip it around the straps. That might work for some carriers as well, as long as you can slide them. So you've got a hole here. You can slide them through the base and you can clip them like that. And basically what that does is just it makes the seat wider, so the base wider, so then the knees are lifted like that. So that's another thing that you can try and get. They're very cheap. Another trick, find my clip. Where have you gone? Here. If you want to lift the legs and you've got a compliant baby, you can get this is what we call chest strap. So it's like a strap that you can clip between your shoulder blades, between your shoulder straps, that will keep the straps together. And you can make something with them. So you can try to clip them onto your strap, onto your waist belt. You have to be a bit inventive with this one. And lift them long like that, and get your baby to put their feet on top and retighten. And so they will put their legs here, and I won't put any pressure on them or anything, and you just tighten it as much as you need, and then suddenly the leg is lifted. So depending on how big your baby is, you can put it on the straps here or on the waist belt, or even could clip it at the end of the webbing that tightens your waist belt into the elastic band. Pretty much all carriers have this elastic band. This is to do that, yeah. So you can roll it so you don't have dangly straps. But what you can do is use this elastic band, bring your clip in like this, and make basically some holes like that. That will depend on how big your baby is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I find the easiest and best way to do it is just to clip it in there. You can use a shoelace, you can use any type of strap that's going to work. So you can do that if you don't like using the scarf every time. You can just leave them clipped in and then put your baby in and then pop their feet into the strap. So that lifts the legs up and it's just a lot more supportive and comfortable. These cost absolutely nothing. They're very, very cheap. Shoelace is fine as well. You can do a slip knot and do some kind of arrangement. Okay, so this is one option. Now, in terms of carriers that you can use, there's lots and lots of options. So I'm going to demo a few. I'm going to demo some carriers that are extendable. and some that are good for in between. There's always that in between time when your baby is a bit too big for the baby carrier, but they're not quite there yet for the toddler carriers, because a lot of toddler carriers are like massive. So there's some good in betweens. The first one I've demoed is definitely a firm favorite for that. That's the Toddler standard. It really is quite wide here. So if your baby's around, it really varies, like sometimes it's around like 11 months, 1 year old, 13 months old if they're quite small. They're not quite there yet for the toddler carrier. The Toddler standard is quite a good option. It's a very easy one to use. You can just use it as it is. You can use it with the seat extenders, so make it last a bit longer. They've got hoods, so that will support the head if your baby falls asleep on the back. And we find, like with my clients, that we just use that for a few months, and then when your baby's big enough, they can move to a toddler carrier, which is a lot bigger. So for toddlers, this is the standard. This one is the toddler carrier, so I'm going to try to give you a bit of a comparison. So already a lot bigger, so I'm just going to lay them over me so you can see. So toddler, standard. So you see it's a lot bigger already, and then the height is much taller as well, so it grows in height, so you've got a lot more. And you've got the preschooler as well, which is enormous. Let me show you. I can probably fit in that. It's that big. It's amazing. So this is the preschooler, all right? So we're talking like you still got loads of time between all of these models. So like this, yeah. So toddler, preschooler. I can just about fit my 3-year-old in that if it's fine now. And I've put my 6-year-old in that, and that fits as well. So it's quite a really big one. Now with these types of carriers, you don't really have adjustments, okay? So the only adjustments you can do is by making the base wider, by adding seat extenders. So you would need to try your baby in. We can try to make measurements and see if it works, but then it might be that they are just too big, okay? So you will need to really just measure up and see if your baby fits in it. You have toddler carriers that can be a little bit adjusted. So this is the Ease Me Toddler Carrier, and that works for quite small toddlers as well, so it's quite a nice one. What's good about it is that, sorry it's very dark, but I hope you can see, we've got some Velcro tabs here, so you can open up and make the base wider. So that's quite nice, it grows with your baby, because there's really just no structure to it. It molds quite nicely to the body, so that can work with big babies that are just about to be toddlers, but a bit too big for their baby carrier, so that's quite a good one, and it's quite long lasting as well. You can make the straps a bit more fitting, so that helps also as your baby grows. And it's got a hood, it's got everything you need. It's very, very lightweight and very nice. So the Ease Me Toddler is quite a nice one. Some people prefer having like very strong waist belt, like on the Toddlers for instance. The Ease Me is very like moldable, but you've got a bit of padding, so that gives you a bit of comfort. Again, it's very personal, you've got to try and see what works for you. And then you've got much bigger ones. So this is the Beko Toddler. So Beko makes this really great toddler carrier. Again, quite a strong waist belt. But there's no adjustments, so again you need to see if your baby fits. It's got quite a bit of padding, lots of padding on the shoulders. It's got a hood, so super handy when baby falls asleep on the back. But again, it's really worth just trying and see if that works for your baby. So other like carriers that expand and are quite good and long lasting, I particularly like the Beko 8, because compared to the Beko Gemini, which I demoed, this one is the mesh version. The Beko 8 has got a taller panel. So for small babies, we put even like a little cushion insert. And the base is adaptable, so small baby or big baby, you just open it up, you've got poppers inside. And it works quite well into toddlerhood, so it's quite a good one to have. And it's very supportive, so the waist belt is very big and you've got lumbar support. So that's quite a nice one for big babies, but small babies alike, because you can just make it smaller, so it grows with your baby. Another quite expandable one is the Hana Expand, and this one I have fallen in love with because it's so lightweight but so long lasting and not super expensive. So in the waist belt you can make it wider, so you've got this kind of like sliders here, so you just move the waist belt along. So small baby will start like that, and big baby it goes zip. So you've got micro adjustments, so it grows wider and wider. And then inside you have like a front panel extension, so for small babies you go down, and for bigger you just like bring it up, so it grows with your baby, and that's quite a long lasting one as well. And it's very lightweight, so it's not like super bulky, there's not like a million different straps and stuff, and I quite like this one. In that spirit, we've got the Boba X. Lots of adjustment with this one. Try not to totally get undressed doing this live. So Boba X, a very nice carrier as well, very long lasting, very adaptable. You've got Velcro in the waist belt. So for small babies, we start small inside, and as they get bigger you just make it wider and wider. And these come with their own seat extender, so you don't have to buy them separate. As your baby get bigger, you just add the seat extenders. So we make it grow in width, and obviously the height grows as well. You've got this adjustment here, you make the panel grow taller. So again, it's quite a long lasting one. And I also have Izara The One. It's called The One because this is the only one you'll need. Again, really super massively expandable. So you've got the Velcro in the waist belt. Start small, as your baby gets bigger, you make it wider. It comes with its own seat extenders, and it grows in height. It's really quite nice and lightweight. It's made from a woven wrap, so it's nice and soft. And again, it's a very adaptable one. We have a similar one which is on a higher at the moment, which is the Lenny Lamb Preschooler, and that one goes from toddlerhood all the way to preschooler, and it grows, so it's very similar to the Zara The One, but comes in a bigger version. It's made of a woven wrap again, and so it works for toddlers and preschoolers alike. I have tried this baby in it. I have tried my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old, and it was supportive for all of them. So that's another one to consider. You can see a demo video on my YouTube channel. So, having said that, there are some financial considerations. If you have a toddler or a big baby that's about to hit toddlerhood and they've gone out of the baby carrier, you've tried various things, seat extenders, the scarf hack, blah blah blah, all these things, and then you think, okay, I really need something bigger. You can go for an in-between carrier, so the Toddler standard is quite a good one. One that expand, but the one that expand are great in terms of financially. I would say if you're gonna have more babies, and that's totally your business, or you want to pass on to somebody, like these are great. But I wouldn't buy an expandable carrier when my baby is about to fit a toddler carrier, because even if they are massively expandable, and so especially these are the one last a very long time, it's very expensive, and it may not last as long as a very big toddler carrier. So sometimes, like financially, it's more worth going straight off and buy a toddler carrier than buy one that expand, and use one that expand in the meantime, hire from your Sling library or anybody near you for a few months, and then when your baby is big enough to move to the toddler carrier, try the toddler carriers, see how they fit, see how they feel, and then buy. Second hand is fine, buy new, whatever you want to do. Just ask your local Sling librarian. We're always happy to help. We have discounts and stuff like that. So that's just something to consider financially, and this is something I'm always happy to discuss, because my job is to find the most financially viable option for you, because it costs a lot having babies and kids. So let's find the thing that works. In terms of how I work, you can hire carriers for £10 per month for as long as you need, and then when you're ready we can look at toddler carriers. Okay, so let's stop talking about toddler carriers and let's think about other options, because you don't have to have a toddler carrier, you can have other options. Good one is Untitled, and I don't know if you've heard about them, but they are pretty cool because they are waistless, so you don't carry your baby on your waist. I'm going to demo it in a second. And they fold super mega small, so you can just roll them into your bag like that. I would say like these are really handy for babies that walk, because you can put your baby on your back, even on your front, like super quickly. But they work great for long walks as well. But they're usually made for like bigger babies with head control, and toddlers, so it's not something that you can really use from birth. These are great because they're really small, and I know what babies and toddlers walk are like. They want to go up and down all the time. So an embout sometimes is a really great solution. You're just going to bring your baby's leg through it, a bit like a backpack really, like that. And then there's lots of different ways to bring baby on your back. Again, head to my YouTube channel if you want to see some tutorials. Just bring baby on my back like that. Zip. Legs through. And I'm just going to retighten. And my baby's on my back. There you go, took 2 seconds. I've got a chest strap that goes with it. I've just put it on the floor somewhere, I don't know where it is, but something to hold the straps together. So these are super handy, especially if you're expecting, if you're having more children. Really great because you don't have any pressure on your belly, and if you don't like it, it's nice. It's very supportive, it's a lot more supportive than it looks, and it's a great way to just go up and down. A very similar looking one, but that's got waist belt, is the Integra, and I really like the Integra because again it's something that folds super mega small, so you can just roll it like that. They come in 3 sizes, 1, 2, 3. For a toddler, go for a size 2. For a preschooler, go for a size 3. If they're a little bit big, it's okay, you can just roll them. So you can roll the base like that, clip, and then that will make the height, the front panel, less tall, and you can also cinch it like that. Again, it's a super quick carrier to put on, front back carry. You can just keep it on and then just get your baby out very quickly. So I'm going to do a demo. So if you don't like super bulky stuff and you have a toddler who wants to walk all the time, and I know what they like, but then they're tired after 5 minutes. Okay, this is super handy. I recommend you cross straps on the front, it's a bit more comfortable. So I'm just going to clip it in. Go. Like that. Just remove everything. Okay, there you go, super quick. And this is like a 14 months old, and this is the size 1, it still fits, so like the size 2 is even bigger. Again, if it gets a bit small, you can do the scarf trick, you can do the clipping the chest strap in. It's very easy to go on the back as well. Just loosen, take your arm out like this, just very slowly, switch sides. You then bring this strap over your shoulder. Make sure it's comfortable, so if you have rest, wear them over or under like that. There you go, super quick, very easy to go on the back, and it's a very nice option for babies who walk. Okay, so other options. ring slings. And so ring slings are not just for tiny babies. They last a very, very long time. They're very comfortable, especially the ones that are made of woven wrap. And they're super cool if you have a toddler or a baby who wants to walk, but then they get tired. You know the deal. Just put it on before you go out. It's very small. And they're tired. Okay, no problem. Climb in there. Sit on your hip. And like that. They don't take very much practice. For bigger babies, you don't have to worry so much about positioning when they can hold their head. And then you just retighten quickly. Like that. And you're good to go. Tired, they can nap. Totally comfortable. If you find the weight too much to carry on the front, you can even go to the back. You will start with your rings a bit higher up, but you can back carry with it as well. You just retighten, and you can stick this around like that. So you can back carry with it as well. It's totally possible to do. Doesn't take much practice. And then bring baby back on the front. There's lots of different ways to use ring slings. They're really just super compact. You can have it on, and it's a very good option. Okay, there are other things as well, like toddler made eyes. So this is a made eye, so it is cut out of a woven wrap, and you put it on like an apron. So I'll do you a demo on the front. Double knot. Bring your baby on your chest. Like that. And you grab a strap, you flip it over your shoulder, put it down, pin it between your knees. Oh, of course it's knotted at the back. Should have thought about this. Okay, same here. Pull down, grab your straps, give a little pull, cross under the bum, and then you can go tie on the back. Double knot. For bigger babies, or babies that are heavy, or if you just fancy, you can just spread out the fabric like that. That helps lift the weight really nicely and really comfortably. They've got hoods, some don't. Some you can spread the fabric on your shoulders. Some you've got padding. They vary a lot. So toddler made eyes are really great because even if it's still a little bit big, you can just roll it and you can adjust it for the height of your baby, so it will grow with your baby. Instead of having a baby sized made eye, that doesn't grow. If your baby's already big, go for a toddler one and you can roll it, and it's just very easy. You can back carry with it. It's super handy. And it's very quick, actually doesn't take too much practice. Okay, another option, if you like to wrap, and I'm going to show you an option, is to have a short wrap, because babies who walk, sometimes they get tired and they want a very quick back carry. So if you're already carrying on the front and you want an option for back carrying, get like a shorty. This is a size 4, you can try size 4, size 3. And you can do very quick rock. So again, this is just a very quick demo. And I'm a wrapper, and when my kids start to walk and they don't want to be in a wrap all day long, I just grab a short wrap, get your seat, and you can do a very quick rock like that. Tighten over the legs, under the leg. And obviously I know I'm doing this quick, but this is more for people who have a little bit of experience or want to be taught. There you go, double knot is done. Baby's on my back. I can finish it in lots of different ways. This is the quickest rock. If you want an even shorter wrap, you can just tie under the bum, so a size 3 would work for me. Maybe even a size 2 for small people, so I'm not sure it would work for me. So that's a really nice and quick option. It's very supportive. I would say if you want to start getting into wovens and your baby's already quite big, go for more like medium thick weight rather than a thin wrap, because it'll be a little bit more supportive than something that's quite thin. For you wrappers, you can just, if you're really into it and you want something that is going to be very long lasting and that's going to go way into like preschool years, get a thick wrap. So got one here. That's my toddler wrap, and it's huge. It's over 400 grams per square meter, so if you know what I mean, this is really heavy, but I don't feel the weight. I've put my 6-year-old in it recently, and actually it was nice. He just fancied a little cuddle. I carry my 3-year-old in that all the time, and I just don't feel the weight. So like thicker wraps are definitely a good option for big babies and toddlers, because they will be very long lasting and they will support the weight very nicely. Having said that, if you have a thin wrap or a medium thin wrap, it's totally fine. You might want to wrap in like 2 or 3 layers so that it lifts the weight a bit more. So like double hammock, Russian, Norwegian carry, stuff like that. And I know I'm talking gibberish for people who don't know how to wrap, but this is something you can look into. And if you want to start wrapping, your baby's already a toddler, it's totally fine to do. You can start any age. There's really just no like, oh, you must do that when they're babies. No, you can start to learn wrapping on the front, get a bit of experience for a few weeks. When you're ready, you can learn to back carry, and it's absolutely feasible and it's really lovely. It's not that complicated. Don't dismiss something that looks very complicated. It really is just a very lovely, long-lasting option. You don't have to have very long wraps. You can have just a short wrap to do quick back carry when you're out and about. Okay, so that's about it for options. In terms of, oh yes, I have one more option. Hold on, I forgot about this. Pouches. So pouches are another really good option for big babies that can hold their head. So it's basically like a tube. You just put it on. It works a bit like a ring sling, but there's no adjustments. They are sized, so make sure you've got the size that works for you. I think this one is a little bit bigger. I'm just going to demo. And you can just sit your baby, kind of like you've got you create like a pocket on your hip, like that. Spread. So this one is too big for me, but it should be a bit more fitting. And you can twist the shoulder, spread the fabric on the back. So it took me 2 seconds. So patch is another really good option for walkers who want up and down all the time, but also for any baby that have good head control. They're super easy. You need to try maybe a couple of sizes to make sure you've got the one that works for you, but they for a super small. This is something you can keep in your handbag. It's really lovely. It's really supportive. There you go. It fits in my hand. So in terms of like how to carry your baby, you can front carry for as long as you want. There is absolutely no time limit. There is no obligation to start back carrying at any point. If you prefer having your baby on your front because you can see them, you can talk to them, keep going for as long as you want. There is really no obligation to go on the back. Back carrying is a handy skill to learn with whatever you're using because you can carry the weight a bit more easily on your back. There'll be a time, so if you're using a carrier that offers the facing out option, there will be a time your baby is just too heavy to be carried like this. It's going to really pull on your shoulders. You're going to get loads of back problems. So usually by the time they're like 1 year, they're way too heavy to be carried like this. So back carrying is a better option, or just carrying facing you is a better option. I think it's important to also respect what your baby wants. If they don't like to be back carried because they can't see you, don't force them. Just take it easy, just take it very slow with them, and also let them have freedom. If they want to walk, if they want to just not be carried, it's totally fine as well. Sometimes and I see that a lot, big babies and toddlers can go on sling strikes. So they refuse to be carried because they figured out they can see a lot more in the buggy, and that's totally fine. It's usually a temporary thing because they're going through some developmental stages and they just want to like feel a bit more free and less constrained. But it doesn't mean they don't want the closeness and they will never want to be carried again. So don't worry too much. Just respect what they want. Take a sling with you in the buggy if they don't want to be carried, and then just see if they want to go for a little snuggle. Sometimes that can help. Just see what they want. Yeah, don't force them really, and I'm sure you don't. It's just about really respecting what your baby wants and answering their needs. And that's it really. I think I've covered everything. You can carry for as long as you want. There is no time limit. There's no like because they've turned 2 you've got to stop carrying them. Keep going for as long as you want, as long as you have a carrier or sling that is going to be supportive and comfortable for you. Keep going. Just make sure if you ever having like back problems or you feel the weight is too much, just come and talk to one of us. We'll be really happy to help you find options, find some kind of adjustments we can make and see what we can do to help you. Listen to your body as well. Don't push yourself. It's very important. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them now. Happy to answer. If you're watching this on replay, just pop your questions in the comments or drop me a message anytime. I'm always happy to help. If you fancy hiring anything, trying out anything, likewise drop me a message and I'll be here to help. Cool. Don't think we have any question. Let me just check. No, I think we're good. Have a lovely day. Thank you for joining and chatting with us. And see you soon.